welcome back to the Crystalina Perspective. You guys are getting me from a different angle. I'm currently in my craft lab. It is a little late, so I have to speak low, so I will turn the volume of this video up. But if you could tell by the title of this video, today I'm going to talk to you guys all about how to gracefully leave a job. Okay, so if you guys have not checked out my last YouTube video, I'll link it up in the cards somewhere. For my crafty planner peeps, this is a nursing video. So if you do not want to hear about my nursing journey, nursing profession, go ahead and click off. This is a nursing video, so I wanted to go ahead and throw that out there so that way you guys would know what type of video this is. So, you know your girl got her RN. I literally posted around this time last year a video of me walking the stage at the University of Arkansas, Fayetteville, where I walked the stage for my BSN, but I did not officially graduate until July of last year. Took the NCLEX in September, but before taking the NCLEX, I applied and accepted a COVID ICU job. And if you watch my last video, you know I'm no longer a COVID ICU nurse. So let's first talk about identifying factors on when you need to leave a job. So in my opinion, and note guys, this whole video is all my opinion. In my opinion, I do not feel like you necessarily need to leave a job because you do not like it. And what I mean by that is, especially if you're new, if you've only been there like a month and I wouldn't necessarily say you don't like it. How do I want to say this? I feel like you should at least give it a solid 8 weeks, which is 2 months, at least get out of orientation to kind of determine whether or not if you like it. Now, red flags are often thrown. So if you see red flags, then of course, deuces, chunk the deuces up, move on with your life because you don't need that negativity. But if, it's certain parts, like maybe you're not catching on to a skill or something like that, and that causes you to not like the job, I'm not going to tell you to quit. I'm just going to say give it a little bit more time. And then if it does not work out, chunk your deuces up. But if you start a job like I started and you see red flags immediately, I'm saying day one red flags. Start working on your way on how to exit on up out of there. So for me, like I told you guys, I'm an optimistic, hopeful person. When I took the job, I had a lot of hope, a lot of optimism. I basically thought that I was going to be able to get in the job, make a big difference, whoop-de-whoop-de-whoop. That's what I thought. What I quickly learned was that is not always the case in jobs. As a nurse, you are not bound to any particular facility, not unless you sign a legal binding contract. Therefore, it is important to read every single thing that you sign. And I know it's annoying to read things, but it's important to read things because some things have loopholes, some things do not. Example, when I became an LPN, I signed on with a hospital, got paid significantly less, like literally, I started as an LPN and I started off making $14. Yeah. But I was given a $5,000 sign-on bonus, which at that time, I just thought that was amazing. Understanding the time frame of where I was at that time, I had recently lost a car due to repossession and trying to put myself through LPN school. On top of that, my credit sucked. At the time I was, single, trying to figure out life, did not have another sole person I could lean on. So I took the $5,000 sign-on bonus. I took the low pay $14. It was a lot of work that I was doing as an LPN. It was team nursing. You had a CNA, LPN, RN, and honestly, for the particular area that I worked at, since it was LTAC, did not really have a CNA. So with that being said, I took the sign-on bonus, but although it said that I had to work 2 years in the contract, the facility, well, the hospital could not fulfill their end of the contract. What I mean by that is that, one, as an LPN, we started in November of that year, which was 2018, they started to cancel LPNs because they didn't have enough patients. Census got really low. And at this particular organization, a LPN only could float to Jerry Psych or rehab, and those places were staffed. Why? Because census was kind of low everywhere. So after you use up all your PTO, it's kind of like, due to getting canceled, it's kind of like what I'm supposed to do. That created a loophole. So although they had given me the $5,000, they could not hold up their end of the contract. So if you have a situation like that, that's an easy loophole, because it's like, how am I supposed to fulfill my duties and work and fulfill my obligation of this contract, which is between two parties, you and I, which I is the organization? How am I supposed to fulfill these requirements if I'm not given the work hours to fulfill it? So I was able to get out of that contract. I did not have to stay in that job for 2 years, and I moved on to something else. So back to the task at hand. Thankfully, the job that I worked with, we were giving sign-on bonuses. However, they were a work commitment sign-on bonus. So basically, you had to work your first 90 days. At 90 days, you got 1/4 of your sign-on bonus, which the sign-on bonus was like $5,000 over 2 years. They had bigger sign-on bonuses, but apparently I did not qualify, whatever that means, which, you know what? It don't even matter, because I'm glad I didn't. So you work 90 days, you work 6 months, then you get 2/4 of the sign-on bonus. 1 year, you get 3/4, and then at your 2-year mark, you get the last 1/4 of the sign-on bonus. So that type of contract you can leave, because it's a work/time requirement contract, which means that you have to give them so much time. You have to fulfill so many hours, so many months, whatever the case may be. Cool. So that's an easy contract to get out of. There's other contracts that you may be bonded in. They may pay you so much money. You may have to work so much time, but ultimately, the most worst thing of breaking a contract is paying people back. So if you have to pay somebody back, don't listen to none of this stuff that I'm saying, because look, I can't encourage you to break a contract, and I can't look in your pocket to see if you got the money to pay people back, but I didn't. So now that you have figured out what type of contract or situation you are placed in, then you must further figure out if the residency program, if you're a new nurse, is something that you can break. Typically you can, because you could pick up another residency program at another hospital. So you just want to make sure you get all those logistics in place, and then you can gracefully leave. So one of the key things to remember is you don't want to burn bridges. Regardless of how you feel, how upset you may be, you want to do things as gracefully and as respectfully as possible. Not for them. It's definitely not for them. Always think of you. It's for you, because if push came to shove and a hospital closed and this was the only hospital in your area, you want to be able to go back. So look at your state laws, because my state law ultimately saved me. Not all jobs require a 14-day resignation letter. Most jobs just requires a notice that you're leaving. Now, that's why I said look at your state. The state of Arkansas is an at-will state, which means that at any portion you can say bye-bye to them, and at any portion they can say bye-bye to you. So I gave a 14-day resignation, which was sweet. You can give more days if you want to, but at least try to give 7. And the reason why I say that is because a lot of states are at will. So by them being at will, that simply means that at will you can leave. So just make sure you look at that. If not, definitely give the 14 days to be respectful. If it's a hospital that you know for a fact, you're never ever going back to, at least give the people a day or two notice so they could try to cover the staff. But after you turn in that notice, if they don't cover the staff, it ain't your fault. So what I did, like I said, was one, I gave them notice that I was leaving. It was a 14-day notice. What I say do is, I know handwritten notes were the thing in the past. Don't do that. Type it up. And then what I did was I typed it up, I copied and pasted into an email file. I emailed my supervisor, I emailed the residency coordinator that was over me, I emailed HR. And I didn't even let my supervisor, I didn't give her the satisfaction of trying to alter anything, because what I did was I blind copied HR. Blind copy HR, because people will try to say you didn't turn in a notice. People will try to tarnish your name. And my boss, she wasn't like that, but still, you can't trust people. So always blind copy or carbon copy HR. Especially if there's some type of contract, or especially if you've done some type of sign-on bonus or residency, anything, blind, like HR. Carbon copy, blind copy. Then, if you're in some type of residency program, let the residency program coordinator know. Do not leave that decision up to your supervisor to tell them, because once again, people get a little salty. They get in their feelings because you're leaving. Go ahead, email her too, or him too, and then email your supervisor. And if there's like other people in the chain that need to know, so that way it's clear as a whistle. Look, this is what I'm doing, so you will know. Now, things to make sure that you put in your letter. I kept my letter short, sweet, to the point. It was literally maybe 2 paragraphs, honestly, maybe less than that, but I split it up. The first line I put in greetings to my supervisor, or you don't have to say, I said to whom it may concern. That's what I said, so it could be really nice and graceful. To whom it may concern. And then in that first paragraph, I put I stated my name, will be resigning from, I put out the whole position, full-time day shift registered nurse in the blank department, or however you want to word that. If it's a floor number and a unit number, however you want to put that. And also I put, this letter serves as my resignation letter. I would like to thank, and I put my supervisor name and the facility, for the opportunity to grow and learn at this point in my career, something like that, you know, really nice and graceful and sweet. And then in the second paragraph, I put my stipulations. So my last day of work will be on Monday, February 21st, 2022. After this date, I will no longer be an employee of said facility. Once again, I thank you for the opportunity. I thank you for your time. And I wish this organization, I wish my supervisor and name in this organization the absolute best in your future endeavors. Regards. Sign it, and that's it. Gracefully leaving. Now, once you have turned in a resignation letter, you can print it off. You can sign it, and you could put it in your supervisor's box if that's what you so choose. If you decide that you want to make a copy of it and take it to your residency coordinator, you could do that as well. If you decide that you want to give a copy to HR, whatever you want to do, but electronic copies over everything. So now that you have gracefully sent your resignation letter, my next piece of advice is to just keep your mouth shut. Don't tell nobody where you're going if you've already accepted a different job. If you're just quitting and just need a month or two to get your head together, do that. If you took a travel assignment, I was not quick to make friends at my old job. I observed, even now in my new job, I only could say I probably really have like 2 friends, and that's one guy who I came in with as a resident and my preceptor. That's it. Everybody else, I'm still filling out, but I spent the bulk of my time with those 2 people at my new job. So yeah, but as far as I had some other friends, that definitely helped me and that I definitely, still call and check on from time to time at the old facility. But like, as far as just telling people, like, if you'll have pressure from charge nurses and supervisors. So what you're going to do now? Quit? Live? My answer was, I'm leaving the profession. I'm no longer going to be a nurse. I'm going to take a break. I have an MBA. I'm going to see what I can do with that. Because it's none of your business what I'm doing. And they got mad. Like, literally, my last day there, one of the nurses was upset because they didn't throw me like, wherever you're going, be happy. It was none of that. It was literally like, bye. And I was like, bye-bye. Figure it out. So I gracefully left the job. I turned in everything. I turned in the badge. And I know some people keep their badges and stuff. Nope. Wanted no memories of where I had been. So now that we have talked about, making sure you figure out your contract and your state, making sure that you do your resignation letter, making sure that you keep your mouth closed so people can mind their business. One other thing I want to talk about gracefully leaving a job. And this thing was something that was very, very, I'm not going to necessarily say important, but it was kind of imperative that I did. So once I left said position, as I was saying, so what causes you to gracefully leave a job? Red flags, like red flags. So for me, from the get-go, I had red flags, but I chose to ignore them. So one red flag for me was day one, I stepped on the job. You tell me you've been an LPN before, you can do this. I'm telling you, I've never worked with an arterial line. I've never did CRRT, which is continuous renal therapy. I don't know what I'm doing. It's continuous renal replacement therapy. That's what the CRRT is. So basically, dialysis at the bedside. Never did this before. So that was a red flag. Another red flag was a lot of travel nurses. Nothing against my travel nurse friends, but when a unit is 85% or more of travel nurses, honestly, if a unit is 60% and more of travel nurses, figure out your exit strategy. Other red flags, my orientation getting cut. Why are you taking away my last few weeks? I need those. You may not think that, but I do. Other red flags, charge nurses not standing up for you when they know that you are a new RN. Instead, they try to demean you and say things like, you're going to have to learn how to talk to people. Since you are a brand new nurse, pause. Not a brand new nurse. I'm a brand new registered nurse, but I'm not a brand new nurse. And even if I was a brand new nurse, you're not going to talk to me like that and make it seem like it's all my fault because I asked a question. So pay attention to red flags. I had a ton. Getting assigned 3 critically ill patients, red flags. Just pay attention to your red flags because that is going to help you to determine whether you need to stay or go. So like I said, hopefully these tips help you guys with gracefully leaving a position. It's simple. Research to make sure that your contract, state, whatever has a loophole for you. 2, write a resignation letter, make it plain, clear as day, state what it is that you need. And 3, keep your mouth closed, mind your business. And lastly, watch out for your red flags. So if any of these tips were helpful to you, please let me know down in the comment section below. More nursing videos are coming. Also, if you're interested in crafting, planning, journaling content, check out that content on the page. And until next time, bye.